Welcome back to another episode of It's in the Details. Happy New Year, happy holidays. I hope everybody was safe and happy and healthy. I'm in Ontario. The virus was popping off in Ontario, as it was pretty much everywhere around the world. So I trust, like me, y'all were at home, bundled, snuggled up, and pounding away some TV and movies. That was what I assume. I watched so much stuff. It was recline time up in my household. That's what was popping. I saw a couple friends. I hope you got to see some friends and family too. But I know, like me, you were at home watching stuff. I don't even really. There's so much that happened, so much that I watched. I spent some time with Apple TV. We're going to dig into some of the Apple TV shows that I watched. There's so much coming, too. So many new things coming, so many new seasons. Ozark's coming back. Amazing Race is coming back. I can't wait to see how they managed to maneuver their way through traveling the world for a race in pairs through COVID. A worldwide race. You know what I'm saying? Like, how did they accomplish that? Maybe that's why it took them like 2.5, 3 years between seasons. They had to really figure out the logistics and how to do that safely. I don't know, but I'm excited to watch that. That's coming too. There's a whole host of things coming that we're gonna talk about at some point. But man, Apple TV. So I was a Ted Lasso guy. I watched Ted Lasso. I've watched the seasons of Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso, by the way, I wasn't planning on talking about that, but Ted Lasso had quite a season and season finale itself. But I got into two shows mainly that I want to talk about. Foundation. So I watched Foundation. I think it was an 8 or 10-parter. It's based on Isaac Asimov's books, basically spinning us forward into what we may look like as humans and interplanetary travel and habitation on different planets, all of those good things. And it's wild. It's a pretty wild one. I wouldn't call it great. It wasn't great. It was really good. I'm interested in seeing season 2. The casting was phenomenal. The host of talented individuals and great faces filled with character whom you can't take your eyes off of. So many, like, I'm talking 10, 12, 15 people deep. Ensemble cast, obviously, but 10, 15 people deep of faces you can't stop looking at, right? But the gist of it, there is an imperial empire that kind of runs the whole universe, like the whole planetary universe. They're the bosses. Think of them as, I don't know, the United States. You could think of them that way if you want. So they're running everything. And the dude at the top, I think it was 500 years ago, 5,000 years ago. I can't remember. I watched it at the beginning of the holiday. That dude figured, I'm the best person to ever run this thing. The only people that should ever run this thing is me. So I'm going to clone myself. And his name happened to be Cleon. Cleon. Cloned himself. Cleon. Anyway, Cleon clones himself, and the way they operate is they've got Brother Dusk, which is old Cleon. He's on his way out. Then you got Brother Day, who is the prime Cleon. He's the one that's running the show. And then you got Brother Dawn, who is the young up and coming Cleon. So at all times, they've got 3 of this clone running around politicking and running the planets. Okay? 3 of them. Sometimes you see a little baby Cleon. Sometimes you see a little adolescent Cleon. But Cleon, the first, or the brother Don, is always in his teens. He's young, right? And then you got, you understand you understand the gist. Brother Day is the same guy. He's always, and sometimes these dudes die. Sometimes they die early. Sometimes they die late. And they got clones ready for the clones at any age. You know do you understand what I'm saying? At any age, if there's an issue, if one of them gets killed and they can keep it a secret, they got another one ready to replace him like he was never gone, which is sound thinking and really creepy. Just, can you imagine? Just at any time you got a clone of the same age, roughly, to just implant back into society. It's weird. It's a wild show. But you've got a main individual and a host of individuals whom see that society is not working the way it should. There's some bad things coming on the horizon. You've got a super mathematician played by Jared Harris who's predicting all sorts of bad things that are going to befall the Empire unless they start doing these other things to counteract it. And a lot of people believe the main problem is the guy at the top, Cleon, is recycling the same thoughts and ideas that he has been for hundreds and thousands of years because he's the same guy, right? And he's leading everything astray. Jared Harris builds up the foundation. They go off to another planet, and they're supposed to develop that planet and develop this plan to save humanity. And a lot of things go crazy and wild from there. It's beautiful. Visually, so striking and stunning. Another Apple TV trademark, if you will. Like, everything looks beautiful that comes out of Apple TV. It's not always, from my experience, I haven't watched a lot, but it's not always the top quality in terms of storytelling and scripts, and I'm going to get into that next. But it looks beautiful. It always looks beautiful. And Foundation was that as well. They have many different, it's not quite dystopia, but many different planets that we visit that are just so different. There are desert planets, as you'd imagine. There's one planet that is essentially, I believe it's all water. So the people that live on that planet had to sort that out, have to figure out how to survive and build lodging and just visually, it's almost, I think it's unlike anything I've ever seen before. So you really need to just check it out. But something that really sticks out to me when you watch Foundation, and I don't see any way to get away from it, and maybe I see it because you see me and my black self, but the diversity in the cast of Foundation is wonderful, just wonderful. And I think at a different time, you could maybe see it and have it not stand out to you. But to me, given everything going on in the world, it stuck out to me. And one of the main things that sticks out to me is the 2 protagonists, I would say, of the show are both black women. Both young black women just carrying this show. And I think they do it really well. That's one of the things, actually, I said it's not great. I said it was really good. But one of the things, actually, that I do find great is both of these women's portrayal. Both of these ladies' portrayal of their characters, I felt was really strong. Really, really, really strong. Like strong, like, what else are you doing? What else can I see you in? You're in this big show now, so it's clear that you're going to be in a lot of stuff soon, if you haven't already been. And that's no disrespect to their careers to this date, but they held it down. They really held it down. And then you've got Jared Harris, like I said, who's been in everything. He was in Mad Men. He was in the miniseries Chernobyl. I'm sure he was in a bunch of other stuff that I can't even remember, but he's great in it. We got, I can't remember this guy's name, but he was one of the main characters from How to Get Away with Murder. And he's in this for a bit. He's in and out. And the thing I like about that is, and no spoilers, but the thing I like about that is, given the way time works on this show and the fact that it's a science fiction show, is I don't believe anybody is ever really gone from this show, because they could be at any kind of time frame, flashback, digital intervention kind of deal, could keep any character alive. So if you thought someone was dead, you could see them in a week. You could see them in 2, like, nobody's ever really dead, I don't think, on this show. You've got situations where you put someone in a spaceship and their destination is 100 years away. Okay? Just boop, in your spaceship, you're traveling 97,000 light years, you'll be there in 43 years. And when you get there, you look the same, right? It's the whole time-space continuum thing up there that provides for some interesting storytelling, I'll say. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I can't wait to see season 2. And they spent a lot of money on this, y'all. It looks fantastic. And I really should shout out the 2 leading ladies of this show, Lou Lobel and Leah Harvey. Again, phenomenal performances. Can't wait to see what else they're doing. You should go see Foundation. The other Apple TV show that I got into over the holiday is The Shrink Next Door. It is a true-ish story, is based on real events. There's stuff in the news. I might spoil some things for you, but like, if you Googled it, you'd see them anyway. But I'm not going to go too deep to like really ruin anything. The Shrink Next Door is a story about a therapist who takes advantage of his clients. I thought personally the timing of this show being released when it was, put it this way. During COVID, I don't know what podcasts you listen to. I don't know what ads get into your head, right? But during COVID, there have been many, many ads for therapy, mental health awareness. You need to talk to somebody, go talk to somebody, right? Go seek professional help before, like, it's really, really needed. Just go talk to somebody, right? So that's what's popping in society right now. Take care of your mental health. So Apple TV releases a show about a therapist who takes advantage of his clients. It's questionable timing for me, whatever. Maybe it is a caution sign sent up by Apple TV. Go get the therapy, but make sure you know who the therapist is. Make sure you know where you're getting this therapy from. Maybe that was their move. I don't know. But it seemed questionable to me to put this out there and be like, hey guys, sometimes the therapists rob you. That just doesn't seem like the smart thing to do. But they released this show starring Will Ferrell, Paul Rudd, Katherine Hahn, and a shout out to Casey Wilson. We're going to talk about Casey Wilson a little bit later. But I love me some Will Ferrell. I love Paul Rudd. I love Katherine Hahn. Okay, I love all three of them. I really, really like all three of them. I don't purport myself to be a person who's seen all of their work, but I've seen a lot of Will Ferrell movies, seen a lot of Paul Rudd movies, and I've seen a lot of Catherine Hahn movies. Okay, I didn't love it. I did not love this show, and I usually like to stick to the stuff that I like. I like to talk about the stuff that I like, but this thing, it was problematic for me. Head to toe, it was problematic for me. Okay? First of all, it's 8 episodes. They could have told this story in 5. Okay? They could have told this story in 5. The first 3 episodes, you have an inkling of what's going on, but then they're not putting it out there. Right? They're not really telling you what's going on. And you got Dr. Ike, Isaac Hirschkoff, played by Paul Rudd. You got Dr. Ike, and every time he goes somewhere with Will Ferrell's character, Marty Markowitz, Paul Rudd ain't got no money. Okay? He does not have any money, and every time they go somewhere together, which is already questionable, but it's some out-of-the-box therapy, but every time they go somewhere, Paul Rudd doesn't have any money. Will Ferrell's paying for his session in cash. And Paul Rudd uses that money to pay for stuff in cash for himself, right? Super questionable. You could tell Paul Rudd's character, Dr. Ike, is real sneaky and smarmy. He's always smiling, but it's that smile where it's like, hey man, you smiling for a show? Who you smiling for like that? Right? Just always knife in the back, smile on the face. Knife in the back, smile on the face. Knife in the back, smile on the face. Turning the knife. He's creepy. He's real creepy, but he's not creepy enough. You see what I'm saying? He's not creepy enough. And I wrote down some buzzwords for how this show feels. Longer than necessary, which I mentioned already. Muted, subtle, toxic. Toxic makes sense for what this is, but so toxic. There's gaslighting, right? Then there's gaslighting on steroids, and that's what this is. And it almost feels like they're gaslighting the audience too, right? Like, we know, if you Google it, you'll know what this man was doing. I'm telling you what the man did. You can kind of feel it right from the beginning. But the way it's shot, the music that accompanies the acting and the things you see on screen, it doesn't match up. Everything's so light and kind of bubbly. And this man is pilfering Will Ferrell's accounts. Just like a pirate from back in the day. You ain't got enough cannons on your ship. Your ship is my ship now. Your women are my women. All of that. That's what really is happening. But it's just these delightful little ditties that they're playing in the background, and everything's so bright. It didn't match up for me, and I could not thoroughly enjoy it. And it's the kind of show, because of the respect I have for all the actors and actresses, I got to see where it's. I have to keep pressing play to see, one, where is it really gonna go? What's the end point? And 2, it's gonna get better, right? Like every episode, you're like, okay, this is gonna get better. Like not a little better, appreciably better. And the final 3-4 episodes get better, but not better enough. Not better enough. And it does get dark. It does get really dark, and that's kind of the space I think it needed to be in for a longer period of time. But I think maybe, my guess would be, is Dr. Ike was out here killing people with kindness, right? And even the opening credits for each episode, I won't spoil that because that is probably the most beautiful part of the whole series, is each opening sequence for each episode, all 8 of them. But it was the killing them with kindness, the slow creep of hands in pockets and bank accounts and isolation. It was a slow burn. It was a slow burn of an activity carried out by this therapist. And I think they wanted it to feel that same way to the audience, but it was too much of a slow burn for me. That really 2-hour movie. 2-hour movie. That's what this should have been. Hour 55, right? Knock that out, hour 55. You tell the tale. You could jump around a little bit quicker. You could get a little bit darker, a little bit faster. But this was the story they wanted to tell. They got me to watch all 8 of them. I will say, watching Paul Rudd, not to say it wasn't a good performance, but watching Paul Rudd play Dr. Ike may have irreparably changed the way I see Paul Rudd as an actor moving forward. I don't know. It doesn't feel like it's for the good. You know? It doesn't necessarily feel like it's the good for me, but it's certainly different. It's certainly a different kind of Paul Rudd. And I'm not averse to people playing good guys all the time and then becoming a bad guy in something. I just want it to be good. You know? I just want it to be good. Like Denzel. I'm not saying Paul Rudd and I'm not saying they're in the same category, okay? But Denzel played Alonzo in Training Day. One of the best bad guys you've ever seen. Okay? If you're going to make the turn, if you're going to go from good to bad, it's got to be Alonzo. It's got to be Denzel Training Day, good to bad for me. But who am I? I'm just some dude talking about TV shows and movies. I wouldn't necessarily go watch The Shrink Next Door unless a slow, methodical gaslighting of everyone involved is what you're down for. I did mention Casey Wilson. Casey Wilson is an actress I've been seeing more and more lately. I saw her in Black Monday, I think, for the first time. Black Monday is this show about when the stock market crashed, I believe, in 1985. She plays a character who is married to a man who is gay. All right? They develop an arrangement. You should go watch Black Monday. I may talk about that more at another time. But in Shrink Next Door, she plays the wife of Paul Rudd's character, that heinous doctor. She's working. She's also very funny. But what is it about this woman and her acting that makes everyone want to cast her as this poor wife who's attached to these terrible dudes? I I don't understand. And she does it well. I enjoy her in everything I've seen her do. I enjoy the character. She's one of the things I enjoyed more about The Shrink Next Door, really, than anything else. And I really, really enjoy her on Black Monday. They really give her some room to spread her comedic wings, and she's really funny. But I had to give a shout out to Casey Wilson because I think she's killing it. But I'd like to see her do some other things, and I'm not saying she hasn't already done them. I just haven't seen them yet. But I keep finding her as a woman married to some garbage dudes. The other thing I was thinking about with Shrink Next Door is Paul Rudd and Casey Wilson's husband-wife situation. They have some kids. Now, what must it be like to be the child of a parent who is a criminal? You know what I mean? Like, not drugs, murder, corporate espionage and stealing from corporations. Not that kind of criminal. The kind of criminal who was tasked with making someone better, responsible for their well-being. And what you would do is take all their money, lie to them, cheat them, steal from them. What is that like when you're 15, 18, 20? You look around the house and you're like, wow, my dad bought all of this from scamming people. You know, like I'm at Stanford, NYU, wherever you ended up going to school, higher learning, right? You think back, private school you went to, all that stuff. And you're like, my dad was a therapist who scammed people out of money. Like, what is that like? What is that like? That's got to be a situation when those children need some therapy. Isn't that something? That's you want to talk about dark? That's wild. And for a lot of people, that's life. Just the last piece before we get out of here. I finally dug in to Curb Your Enthusiasm's most recent season. Really, it's as good as it always has been. There's so many great things about it. The guest stars, the guest stars, the real actors and comedic actors and actresses who've been around forever, they're all there. Tracy Ullman is in this season, and there are others. And then you've got the minor players, the day players, the people that come in for one episode. You've never seen them before. You go do some research. They got 5,000 followers on Instagram. They're just actors and actresses coming up, and they're great improv actors and actresses because they crush it in their appearances on the show. Crush it. But in true Larry David form, just mining society for little quirks and idiosyncrasies, he came up with this joke, and I'm telling y'all, he came up with this joke where if someone is talking to you for too long, okay, you don't want to hear it anymore, he looked up the Oscar theme for when someone's on stage talking too long in an acceptance speech. And he uses it. He uses it throughout the show on various people. And for the purposes of the show, it works every time. You talking too long? He hits he hits a button on his phone, and that Oscar music starts playing. These people start talking faster, and then they leave. And it was hilarious to me, and it also made me upset because I have been known to be a little long-winded from time to time, and I wish some people would use some Oscar music on myself. Let alone, obviously, if you know me, I'd like to use it on some people from time to time myself, but I definitely would have mad respect for someone who used it on me when I get a little long-winded. So if you're a friend and you're watching this and you bust out some Oscar music on me, you will get nothing but high fives and dap 'em ups because it will leave me crying laughing on the floor. Anyway, I appreciate y'all are back. I appreciate being back. I've got some ideas coming for 2022 and what we're going to do with the show. So I hope you're along for the ride. As always, please remember to share, like, comment, rate, review, whatever you do wherever you get the show. Happy New Year again, y'all. Take care. Peace.